On that morning, when the mountains were locked in fog, young warrior Ren stepped through the red gate of the temple, carrying a weight on his shoulders far heavier than his sword. His head was filled with a buzzing noise. Plans, tasks, reconsidered possibilities, scenes of mistakes replaying themselves, and the shadow of scenarios that would never occur. Ren was not incompetent like most students. On the contrary, he was someone who thought too much, planned too much, and therefore froze too much. With every step, his mind pulled him backward. At every decision point, thousands of alternatives flashed in his head, and before every action, an invisible weight locked his knees and imprisoned his body. The masters had praised him for his sharp mind, yet he realized he had never shown true sharpness in any battle. As he stepped into the inner courtyard of the temple that day, the same questions echoed in his mind. What if I make a mistake? What if I take the wrong step? What if my plan isn't enough? Ren's life had passed in the prison of sentences, beginning with, what if? As he walked by the old stone lantern in the center of the courtyard, the wind suddenly changed direction. The fog opened for a moment, and before him appeared the figure no one had seen but whose name was whispered in legends, Master Kaizen, the old warrior said to be the last carrier of the Mushin method. What set him apart from the other masters was his ability to move in battlefields without thinking, as if guided by an invisible inner flow, sensing his opponent's moves and possessing reflexes that seemed to surpass the speed of thought. When Ren met his gaze, time stopped for a moment. In the master's eyes, there was neither judgment nor mercy, only naked awareness, as if he had unraveled all the knots in Ren's mind with a single glance. "You're thinking," the master said, his voice thin and clear as if carried by the wind. "You're thinking again. Still thinking." Ren reflexively bowed his head. "Master, I was only trying to prepare." "Prepare." Master Kaizen's lips moved slightly. It wasn't a smile. It was something much more dangerous. A cold reaction from someone who sees the truth. Preparation is the mind's most sacred deception. You're not preparing. You're delaying yourself. Ren's throat dried. For the first time in years, someone had held up such a clear mirror to him. The master slowly walked to the center of the courtyard. His steps were barely audible. "Come closer," he commanded. Ren hesitated, then walked forward. The buzzing inside him grew. "Your problem isn't skill. Your problem isn't fear. Your problem is excess." The master lightly tapped Ren's chest with his finger. "This is full. That's why you can't see anything." Ren didn't understand. He only whispered, "What do you mean?" "Your mind is like mud. Everything sticks to it. Nothing flows." Master Kaizen suddenly raised his hand. Ren flinched and stepped back at once. The master had done nothing. He had only lifted his hand, yet Ren had already surrendered to fear. "See?" the master said. "This is how you live. Before anything even happens, you start defending, questioning, planning. When the real strike comes, you are already exhausted." The master stepped back and looked deep into Ren's eyes. "The greatest secret of martial arts is not making plans. Plans live only until the first strike. The real art is to be empty the moment the strike arrives." At that moment, a bell rang from afar. The inner gates of the temple opened, and the other students flooded into the courtyard for morning training. But Master Kaizen paid no attention to any of them. He moved closer to Ren and whispered, "Your problem is very simple, yet very dangerous. Excessive mind, excessive analysis, excessive planning." He paused. "Overthinking won't kill you, but it will turn you into someone who never lived." Ren trembled inside. He swallowed but produced no words. Master Kaizen clasped his hands behind his back and turned his face toward the old cherry tree at the edge of the courtyard. "Today, a new path begins. You will no longer live by filling your mind, but by emptying it." Ren immediately responded, "But Master, how do I empty it?" The thoughts in my head just come on their own. The master suddenly grabbed the bamboo stick on the ground and threw it toward him. It was so fast that Ren could only freeze. The stick hit the ground before he could catch it. Ren stared in shock. "Exactly," the master said. "You are not as fast as a thought, because you were trying to think." Ren was stunned. "How will I learn this?" Master Kaizen tilted his head slightly. "You won't learn it." "What do you mean?" "Mushin is not learned. Mushin is remembered. You were born with an empty mind. Thoughts were added later. We will remove what was added." Something dark and vast rippled inside Ren. For the first time, he saw his own mind as an enemy. As Master Kaizen turned and walked away, he left one final sentence behind. "This temple teaches not only the sword, but the mind. I won't put you into combat today. I will give you a far harder trial." Ren held his breath. "What trial?" The master kept walking, his voice reaching him like an echo inside the fog. "Not thinking." The wind passed along the mountainside again. The fog tore apart, and the gong at the temple's edge sounded with a deep vibration. In that moment, Ren understood. This wasn't just a day of training. This was the day his mind was called to war. And this war would not be fought with a sword, but with chaos. Because the gate of the Mushin method opened where thought ended. For the first time, truly for the first time, Ren feared his own mind. And at that exact moment, the master spoke one last time without turning back. "Don't prepare. Just come." Ren's heart trembled like a sword driven into it. As the echo of the gong faded across the temple's wide courtyard, Ren followed Master Kaizen. The sun was still behind the horizon. Rings of mist draped along the mountains swallowed the first light of morning, casting a gray silence over everything. The master was heading toward the old training garden behind the temple. This garden was a mysterious place most students avoided. Some said spirits wandered there. Others whispered that the old master had trained alone in that place for years. As Ren silently trailed behind his master's footsteps, the voice inside him refused to quiet. What kind of test will he give me? What if I fail? What if he notices I'm thinking again? What if he sends me away? What if... At that exact moment, the master stopped. Ren stumbled to a halt. Without turning his head, as if he could hear the noise inside Ren's mind, Master Kaizen spoke. "You've lost before we even began." Ren's face tightened. "What do you mean, Master?" "Before anything has happened, you are already fighting yourself. This is the opposite of Mushin. The mind is a beast that battles itself. By the time the real enemy appears, you're already wounded." Master Kaizen stepped onto the stone platform in the center of the garden. The first rays of the sun slid over the mountaintop and cast his silhouette at the edge of the light. "Ren," he said, "today I will tell you about Mushin, but telling is not understanding. The mind records what it hears. The body remembers what it lives." The master raised his hand. "Mushin is the empty mind, but emptiness is not absence. Emptiness is the removal of obstacles. When the mind is empty, movement enters the flow. Barriers disappear. Responses become natural. To think is to delay." Ren furrowed his brows. "But, Master, how does one make the right decision without thinking? Isn't acting without thought dangerous in a battle?" Master Kaizen let out a faint laugh. "Acting with thought is far more dangerous." He snapped a bamboo twig and handed it to Ren. "Break this." Ren took the twig and snapped it. The master continued. "Did you think while breaking it? No, because you didn't need to. The body knew. Your muscles knew. The mind did not interfere. In that moment, there was no need for a decision, because the most natural action was obvious." Master Kaizen looked deeply into Ren's eyes. "That is Mushin, not obstructing what is natural." Ren wanted to argue again, but the words tangled in his throat. The master went on. "Your plans are your prison. Spend your whole day trying to control the future, and you will accomplish nothing in the present. A samurai cannot control the future. He can only guide the moment. The master began to walk slowly across the stone platform. Listen, Ren. Planning is not for masters. Masters do not need plans. They trust the flow. A tea master doesn't calculate how much to pour. His hand knows. A warrior doesn't analyze where his opponent's blade will go. His eyes see. His body responds. An archer doesn't calculate how the wind will bend his arrow. He feels his breath. Ren tried to understand his master's words, but his mind grew even more tangled. Master, all of this sounds like intuition, but where does intuition come from? From silence, Kaizen said. Intuition appears when the mind grows quiet. When there is a noise, intuition suffocates. The master stood directly in front of Ren. Your mind is filled with panic right now. That is why you cannot see anything clearly. As a warrior, your greatest vulnerability is not the enemy. It is your own mind. If I think, I'll lose. If I don't think, how will I win? The suffocating weight of this dilemma pressed on his chest. But when the sun rose, all the bells of the temple rang at once. This meant the exam had begun. Ren rushed outside. All the students had gathered in the courtyard, yet none of them spoke. In all their eyes, there was fear, curiosity, and tense anticipation. This was the kind of exam they all dreaded, the Mushin exam. Master Kaizen appeared at the top of the stone steps. As if carved out of light, he descended silently, slowly. His sword was sheathed, his face completely calm, his breath so controlled it was almost invisible. Ren's eyes were fixed on him. When the master began speaking, even the wind stopped. Today, you will not fight. Today, you will confront yourselves. Murmurs spread among the students, but the master raised his hand and silence fell. In this exam, your opponent is not a person. Your opponent is your mind. Master Kaizen pointed to the stone-paved area at the center of the courtyard. You will pass through 3 stages in this space. In each stage, your mind will try to stop you. If you think, you will fail. If you listen to the flow, you will pass. Then he turned his gaze to Ren. You will go first. Ren's heart began to pound. The other students stepped back and formed a wide circle. Ren stepped onto the stone platform. His legs trembled, his hands were sweating. Master Kaizen stood before him, slowly drew his sword, and stabbed it into the ground. Today, we don't need the sword, he said. Today, the mind will be cut. The first test began. First stage, the directionless attack. The master walked toward the edge of the platform. Ren, close your eyes. Ren closed his eyes, his breath tightening in the dark void. Now, the master said, I will create 10 different sounds around the courtyard. Your task is to turn not by thinking, but only in the direction your body seeks. Ren began calculating in his head. If the sound comes from the left, I'll turn left. If from the right. At that moment, the master shouted, Stop that voice! Ren opened his eyes in fear. Kaizen looked at him. You are still thinking. You lost again. Ren closed his eyes and centered himself once more. The master clashed 2 stones together. Tak! Ren reflexively turned left. Then a leaf floated down and brushed his shoulder. Ren turned back. Suddenly, a stick struck the wall. Tok! This time Ren turned right. His body was moving faster than thought. This time, the flow was carrying him. The master increased his speed. Tick, shock, tuck, tok. Vn. Ren spun one way and then the other, but his movements weren't rigid. They were natural, flexible, almost like a dance. When the final sound came, Ren suddenly stepped forward and stopped. Master Kaizen approached him silently. Open your eyes. When Ren opened them, the master stood right in front of him. He gave a slight nod. The first test is complete. Ren let out a deep breath, but there was something in Kaizen's eyes. This was only the beginning. Second stage, the enemy within the void. Master Kaizen led Ren to the wide bamboo grove behind the courtyard. While the other students waited behind, the two figures walked through the mist. When they entered the grove, the master suddenly stopped. Ren, he said, now an enemy is following you. Ren shivered. Is there really someone? Master Kaizen replied calmly. That's what your mind thinks, isn't it? Ren's throat went dry. So, what should I do? The master placed a hand on Ren's shoulder. You will walk without thinking. If someone approaches you, your body will tell you. Not your mind, not your eyes, your body. Ren began walking with heavy steps. The bamboo swayed gently with the wind, overlapping shadows forming human shapes. The darkness seemed to move. His mind screamed, look back. Someone is behind you. Run. Watch out. Ren stopped. The master's voice echoed from the darkness. What did you just do? Ren trembled. My mind. Stop me. The master stepped forward and looked into Ren's eyes. You fear not the enemy, but your mind. Continue. Ren walked again. His steps were guided not by mind, but by body. The tightness in his chest eased. After a while, he heard a vn behind him. Something was approaching. His mind shouted, right, but his body leaped left. A small arrow struck the bamboo exactly where he had been standing moments before. Ren gasped. How did I sense that? The mind makes noise. The body hears truth, Kaizen said. Ren continued. A few minutes later, another shock came, this time from above. His body dropped to its knees. Ren hadn't even thought. A bamboo limb crashed down right where his head had been. Master Kaizen emerged from the shadows, smiling. The second test is complete. Ren's eyes widened. The master continued. Mushin is the ability to sense even the unseen enemy. Third stage, the uncontrolled fight. When they exited the grove, the other students had formed a circle, waiting. In the center stood 3 opponent students, strong, fast, and experienced. Master Kaizen stepped onto the stone platform. Ren, he said, now you will fight these 3. Ren's face paled. All 3? At once? Master Kaizen nodded. But with one condition. You will not think. But how? If you think for even a moment, you will fall. Ren's heart pounded. The master raised his hand and gave the signal. All 3 charged Ren at once. Ren froze for an instant. His mind panicked. He thought. At that moment, one strike hit his shoulder and Ren staggered. The master shouted, You thought. You did not hear your body. Continue. Ren clenched his teeth. The opponents attacked again. This time Ren backed away without thinking, and a sweeping kick slid under him. Ren shifted sideways. His body decided on its own. A punch came from the right. Ren ducked. A kick from the left. Ren turned. One of the opponents tried to strike Ren's head with a bamboo staff used like a sword. Ren rolled back. As his mind quieted, his movements flowed. The opponents grew faster. Ren grew faster. When a strike came, Ren didn't resist. He moved with the flow. When another blow came, Ren didn't retreat. He redirected the opponent's force. The body was wise. The body carried the reflexes of thousands of years. Master Kaizen watched from the outside, eyes gleaming. Ren paused for a moment. Just then, one opponent lunged. Without thinking, guided entirely by instinct, Ren slipped behind him and threw him to the ground. The second opponent attacked. Ren used his arm to pivot and made him lose balance. The third charged rapidly. Ren heard his breath, not thought, not analysis, just breath. Ren slipped to the side and took him down as well. Silence fell. All three opponents were on the ground. Ren was breathless, but something burned in his eyes. Clarity. Master Kaizen walked toward him slowly. The third test is complete. Ren fell to his knees. He felt not only his body, but also his mind transforming. His mind was silent for the first time. The silence was not frightening. It was peaceful. Master Kaizen touched Ren's shoulder. Today, you planted the seed of Mushin, but tomorrow, you will learn how to grow it. Ren lifted his head. What will happen tomorrow? As Master Kaizen turned back, he spoke only one sentence. Tomorrow, you will fight yourself. A shiver ran through Ren, but this time not from fear, from readiness. Fudoshin's true power doesn't appear in silence. It appears in the storm that shatters silence. A person learns to protect their inner peace in a quiet room. Yes, but what truly tests them is the weight of life collapsing on them all at once. For a samurai, the final exam is not finding their center in stillness, but finding it in the loudest chaos of battle. And today, you are going through one of the greatest exams of your life. From the outside, you look like an ordinary person, but inside, you are a battlefield. Doubts, fears, the shadows of your past, the expectations of others, the desires you hesitate to admit even to yourself. All of them are armies and fighting within you. And the only one who can stand in the center of these armies is you. This is where the teaching of Fudoshin begins. Find your unshakable center in the heart of the shaking, because the moment the world presses on you the most is also the moment most fertile for transformation. A swordmaster never trains a new student on stable ground. He puts him on wobbling planks, takes him to a windy courtyard, pours water on the floor so it becomes slippery. Because true mastery is born when conditions are not perfect, but entirely against you. The difficulties in your life are not appearing by accident. Every stress, every anxiety, every disappointment you live today is an invisible swordmaster training you. It is not against you. It doesn't exist to destroy you, but to awaken you. Pause for a moment and consider this. Have you ever reached your strongest self during good times? Have you ever ended a perfect day saying, "Now I've changed"? No. What transformed you were the nights when you were exhausted, broken, overwhelmed. On those nights, you discovered something. Your inner strength never depended on external conditions. No one saved you, only the depth of your own awareness did. This is Fudoshin, the art of returning to yourself. It is hearing your inner voice, not when the world is quiet, but when the world is at its loudest, and that voice that is whispering to you, "Do not fear, this moment has come to make you stronger." The pressure on you is not there to crush you, but to sharpen you. A sword that has not been forged in fire breaks on the battlefield. You were like that once, breaking silently for years. But today, you can feel that your broken places have become stronger. The things you once thought would destroy you are now the very things that strengthened you. Your sadness deepened you. Your loneliness grew you. Your disappointments awakened you. Those who betrayed you expanded your awareness. The things you lost made you clearer. And now you can hear your own breath even in the middle of a war. This is something ordinary people do not possess. Most people get swept away by the storm. You are learning to stand in the eye of it. This is true Fudoshin, not trying to silence the world when it disturbs you, but sinking deeper into your inner stillness, listening not to the world, but to the depth of your own consciousness. Because everyone tries to change the outside, but no one aligns the inside. The one who aligns the inside becomes the one who changes the outside. This is why samurai closed their eyes and regulated their breath before a battle. It wasn't a ritual. It was a reminder. I am not just a body. I am not just thoughts. I am not just fears. You must remember this too, because sometimes your mind speaks only to frighten you. This won't work. This burden is too heavy. You are not good enough. But the teaching of Fudoshin says, hear the mind, but do not bow to it. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness that observes them. And the real battle begins the moment you lose that awareness. Now, you must ask yourself the right question. Is what shakes me truly the outside world, or the stories I tell myself inside? Because most of the time, life is not overwhelming you. You are amplifying life. It is your mind that makes a fear 100 times bigger. It is not a person's words that hurt you, but the meaning you give to those words. It is not a failure that wounds you, but what you believe that failure says about your worth. And this is where the secret of Fudoshin reveals itself. What happens is only what happens. The interpretation of what happens is your choice. Change the interpretation, and you change your entire life. Because no one can force you to accept the image inside your own mind. No one can sit on the throne of your consciousness. No one can rule your inner center. This center is the only kingdom that has belonged to you since the moment you were born. And today, you are reclaiming the gates of that kingdom. Your mind has ruled you like a foreign land until now, but now the control is yours. Because you have finally realized something. I can observe myself, and the observer is stronger than the thoughts. This awareness is your breaking point. From this moment on, no emotion can possess you. When anger comes, you will observe it. When anxiety comes, you will watch it. When fear comes, you will say, welcome. Because the moment you observe something, you gain power over it. Observation breaks the chain, and today you have broken your chains. Now you are entering the most dangerous part of your life, freedom. Because nothing can stand in the way of a free human being. A person who governs their own mind cannot be controlled by any external force. Someone who becomes the master of their fears becomes unbeatable in the world. A samurai called this the silent absolute power. And today you touch this power. As you read these words, you notice something. Your anxieties no longer control you. You control them. Your thoughts no longer crash over you like a storm. You watch them like the sky. The storm passes. The sky remains. You are the sky. And when you protect this awareness, no external condition can defeat you. Not the words of others, not the mistakes of your past, not the fears of your future, because now you know. My center is stronger than the noise of the outside world. You have reached Fudoshin. This path was not easy, but you will never return to your old self again. You have reached the summit of your own inner mountain, and on that summit there is only one truth. I am steady. I am calm. I am unshakable. Liking this video, leaving a comment, and subscribing to our channel helps our inner journey grow. You can support us so our voice reaches more people. And for those who struggle to come up with a comment, here's a simple suggestion. I return to my center on the path of Fudoshin.